Hey guys, how we doing? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 57. I'm here today with a guest who's also the man of the hour, the man of the weekend, the man of the week. I don't know how long birthdays last. Um, but living in Aberdeen? Did I
That's
make
right.
that? Yeah,
That's
Aberdeen,
right.
New Jersey. Joe Schubert. Joe, how you doing today?
Mike, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for hosting here this evening and for hosting these podcasts in my absence. I told you guys before the season started privately that you guys were getting called up to the big leagues, and then here I get this random 3-minute happy birthday video. So thank you to you and thank you to Jason. I really was really touched by it, honestly, and I thank you guys so deeply for this. As for what we're doing tonight, my man, I wouldn't miss this one for the world. You know, this is my position. I pride myself on starting pitcher. So we're gonna do what we have done for years past, go 1 through 50. But I like what we're doing here tonight. Why don't you tell everybody what we're doing?
Yeah, I find this kind of exciting to do it this way, but Joe and I tonight are gonna count down backwards. We're gonna do 50 through 26 tonight. And then we're gonna record a separate episode 25 through 1. But I
Mhm.
feel like it adds a little bit of anticipation and mystery when we start from the back and work our way down.
Mhm.
I also said this to you off camera, but I think it's like our 50 through 26 could be anywhere. And
Mhm.
our 1 through 15 or 1 through 10 will probably be like some of the same names that you're seeing over and over.
Potentially. I'll say
Potential.
potentially.
Yeah. But that's why I like this because it's starting from left field.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, no, we're starting on the pitcher's mound as we
Right.
always do.
You're right.
And we're starting with number 50. And I'll be honest, when I was making this list, part of me was like, I want to start with a bang and I want to have something at the end as well that makes the next show even more interesting. So I will start off here with a bang and we'll
Okay.
talk about my number 26 when we get there. Okay.
Okay.
All right, number 50, I'm going to kick off with a New York Mets pitcher because why wouldn't I kick it off with a New York Mets pitcher? I'm going to take Carlos Carrasco here, man. He finished in the top 5% in wins last year and doesn't look to change that with the Mets lineup returning as it is. Run support's going to be fantastic, but he also doesn't need to be the number two like he was last year. He
Right.
could be an easy 3, 4, or 5, depending on how Senga, Quintana, and the kids turn out, right?
Yeah.
Um, he had an ERA just under 4, despite having a BABIP of 337, which was ridiculously high. You
Hmm.
have to believe that's going to come down, which will cause his ERA to come down. I I think at 50, he's a nice, easy 4 starter for you in any rotation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so personally, I don't have Carrasco on my top 50. I have him
Mhm.
on my like veterans on the bubble list.
Right, right.
Um, and I considered him, but the injury risk scares me a bit.
Mhm.
Go entering age 36 season, I
Yep.
believe. Um, but I mean, you hit the nail on the head for all the positives that
Mhm.
could happen could if everything falls into place with this guy. So I
Absolutely.
could see it. I could see 50 for sure.
Okay. So where are you at with number 50?
So for number 50, I am at Lance McCullers.
Okay, I don't have him ranked.
Okay. Interesting. This is why
Like
I love this.
even with the outside like next 10 I did just for conversation speak at some point, I don't have McCullers anywhere near it right now.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like McCullers for a nice bounce back this year. I know he spent a lot of last year injured, and then towards the end of the season, he was kind of working his way back. He's still on the happy side of age 30. He's getting there, but on the happy side of it.
Mhm.
His whip was relatively high last year. He did walk a lot of
Yeah.
batters, and that's the thing that scares me about him. But he was also pretty dominant in a few years previous. So I don't know. I like the upside here in pitching for the Astros. I think he can get a lot of wins under his belt.
I'm glad you finished with that because that is something that personally I'm going to focus on this year in the draft is the ability to take guys that I believe in, but also guys that are going to get me wins. Sometimes in years past, I've been like, oh, I really like this dude who pitches for a terrible Marlins team, who pitches for a terrible Mariners team, who pitches for an awful Arizona team. Like, it's the right guy, just the wrong year. So instead, I'm pivoting to guys who have proven that they can win at this level on really good teams. So that's why Carrasco's at 50 for me. So yes, I do understand the thought behind let me get in on a Houston Astros pitcher. I think I have 3 of them here in the top 50. So we'll go from there.
Cool.
Who's your number 49 before I give you mine?
Okay, my 49 is Dustin May. I think I could see him shooting up the list. I just want to see a little bit more from the injury return and, spring training and build up of the strength and all of that. But I mean, I could see him being a top 25 pitcher.
Yeah, and he fits this mold of like guys who can win baseball games at the major league level on a team that's going to win a whole lot of baseball games. Like this stands to reason. Yeah, he's in that next 10 for me, just outside. I want to see him healthy in spring. That's all I'm looking for.
Cool.
My number 49, Michael Haber. I told you I wanted to start with some fun stuff.
Okay, I'm ready.
Number 49 is Pablo Lopez.
Okay.
Let me break down Pablo Lopez's 2022, shall I? In April, he threw 4 baseball games and had an ERA of 0.39. And then he pitched into May and had an ERA in that month of 2.78 with an ERA sub 2 through May. And then the wheels came off. 5.34 in June, 4.65 in July, 4.61 in August, 4.24 in September and October. All of this was in Miami with no run support. It doesn't matter what kind of run support you're getting if you don't pitch well. And this is 4 months of this dude not pitching well. What we got was 180 innings, which is what I had always been asking for out of this guy. He had never pitched more than 111. So this was the first full year with the workload. And early on, it looked like, holy shit, Joe's right. This dude's about to go win a Cy.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now he's in Minnesota.
Right.
Well, he's gone from the 2 starter on the worst team in the NL East to what? The 3 or the 2 in Minnesota? Like him or Sonny Gray is essentially the answer there.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah. So let's, for the sake of argument, say he's in the 2, but now he's on a 2 in a contending team in the AL Central. Couple of teams that are pretty bad there in Detroit and Kansas City. Couple of contending teams in Cleveland and Chicago. The balanced schedule doesn't help him because he's not going to face Detroit and Kansas City as often.
Right.
But for me, it's that ballpark shift, man. He went from Marlins Park that was huge to Minnesota.
Yep.
I'm a little concerned. I might be out on him this year. And I was almost out on him last year. If you remember, I was saying I might come out of the draft without this dude.
Yeah, and I think you said, if you guys just give him to me, I'm going to draft him. But
exactly. If you're going to just give him to me, I'll take him. But I don't think I'm actively looking for this guy this year.
Okay. That's fair. I am not too far off. I have Pablo at 45.
Okay.
We're very close on him.
Yeah. Now, my number 48 is a guy I am actively pursuing. As a matter of fact, I actively traded for him in that new Dynasty League I just started. I just joined. It's Ross Stripling in San Francisco.
On my bubble. Okay, just missed my top 50. But yeah, tell us
so
about.
So you can see where this goes. This is another dude who will win baseball games for a team that should win more than they lose, right? Like they should be over 500. And we've seen this with pitchers in the past. Alex Wood, Kevin Gossman, Carlos Rodon, other names exist here. And there are like 4 dudes on San Francisco that I have targeted that I will own one of these dudes. It doesn't have to be Stripling, but I like him the best other than Logan Webb.
Right.
Who do you got at 48?
I've got a pitcher that I'm angry that I have on my list, but I have him. Jordan Montgomery, 48.
Put a pin in. Okay, tell me why you don't like him.
It's not that I don't like him. I'm glad he rejuvenated his career in St. Louis, and he was decent enough for us to keep him. It's not that I'm mad at him. I'm just mad in general that we got
Did
rid
you
of
let
him.
him go?
Yeah, because we're always a team dealing with injuries. We got Montas. He was injured going into the playoffs. Like, it didn't help us.
Mhm.
I didn't really understand the move at the time, and I still don't understand it. And here he is, probably going to thrive in St. Louis and pick up a ton of wins and innings, and he could be a workhorse. And I like him. I like his situation there. He's only 30 years old.
Yeah, I like him too. I do have him higher than this, is
Oh,
all I'll
okay.
say. We'll
Okay.
get to him, is
Okay.
what I'll say. Because I do like him for a lot of the reasons you just said, and even more.
Okay.
So that being said, who do you have at 47?
So at 47, I have another Twins pitcher, Joe Ryan.
Okay, he does not make my top 60, which includes the 10 after this, but he's he's the next group of guys that I'm considering here. Why do you like him so much?
Um, I really like his upside. He's still very young. He doesn't have to be the number one here. I think that this Twins team is sort of, you mentioned it before, but like a team of threes. And I think they
Yeah,
have like five number threes on this
yeah.
team. Um,
I think they have
which is,
four number threes and a spot for somebody to show up.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like Tyler Molly's the fourth guy we haven't mentioned, but like
right.
he sort of fits this.
Yeah. And who knows what Kenta Maeda is going to be this year and how
The
much.
phrase you're going to hear from me as we go here is aggressively average. That's what this
That,
is.
that's what the Twins are. It's like the Twins and Cubs when I think of aggressively average.
Yeah. And yet, like, it's just weird because Joe Ryan had like a 3.5 ERA last year. His underlying numbers said he probably should have been worse, but he won 13 games and he threw 150 innings. And like, I I'm gonna ask the same question later of somebody else, but why is he good?
Yeah,
I don't understand why
I don't
he's good.
I don't know.
His fastball isn't particularly fast or move all that much. Like it's just he's aggressively average.
Maybe you can attribute some of his success last year to the imbalanced schedule, and
Mhm.
maybe it evens out this year, but we don't know. And
If that's the case, then the Twins are going to be in trouble.
yeah, that is true. That is
Yeah.
true. But I
Well,
don't know.
if that's the case,
I
then
do like the
perhaps
upside in him. I like his age, and he's gonna be a workhorse. I think they can unleash him at this point. They're not
Mhm.
gonna watch his innings cap or anything like that. So
Okay.
I feel okay about
Yeah,
having him as a four.
I guess I do feel like his innings are safe. They're not going to pull him unless he's atrocious, and
Right.
even then, like then you burned your what 12th rounder at this point,
Right.
roughly. So
Yeah. If he's a
yeah,
number four starter, yeah.
sure. I at 47 have another guy from the AL Central. This guy
Okay.
I have on a bounce back year. Give me Lucas Giolito, man. Like, why not here?
He was so tough for me to put on this list.
Is he in your top 50?
He's not.
Okay, so like okay, so let's be honest here. He's probably not the ace he was in 2020, right? Like he
Yeah.
probably would have been exposed there.
Right.
And in 2021 he was good, not great. And here he was bad
Bad.
like he was in 2018 and 2019.
Yeah.
Okay, but he doesn't need to carry the staff because Dylan Cease is now doing that. Lance Lynn is coming back to eat innings. Like he
Yep.
just needs to be a three. And he's still going to face Kansas City and he's going to face Detroit. And the offense will support him. Maybe not as much as when Jose Abreu was hitting in the middle of it, but
Yeah.
like maybe 150 games out of Eloy Jimenez will be helpful. That would be great.
If you can get that, awesome.
I'll buy the buyback here at 47 and go with it.
Yeah. Listen, I hear everything you're saying, and this is a guy that was top 10, what, like 2 years ago? Like it's not that far-fetched that he's in the top 50. I guess, I see these rankings as like my personal, like, where would I personally draft them? And I think this year I'd have to just take a pass and let someone else grab him and then prove that he's great. And then he's still young, so I could consider him for next year.
Yeah. And I mean, he still gave you 160 innings with the ERA was really bad, man. But the underlying numbers said he should have been a whole lot better. He had a 340 BABIP, man. That's awful.
Yeah.
That is just awful. His defense was letting him down and letting everything fall in. Like,
yeah.
Yuck. It was just a bad year.
Yep.
Did we cover your 47?
My 47 was Joe Ryan. Yes.
Okay. So who you got at 46?
46, I've got, I think you like this player, but I got Patrick Sandoval.
I liked Patrick Sandoval. Past tense. Go ahead.
Still young. He proved to be relatively consistent last year on a Angels team that was bad, that didn't really do much of anything. And I don't know. I could see him like coming into his own and actually like being a really solid number 2 behind Ohtani and like just sort of surprising us all there in LA. I like his stuff. I like sort of the underlying numbers here. Why are you out on Patrick Sandoval?
So last year I was really disappointed when I didn't get Pat Sandoval as my number 4 and Bobby Russo grabbed him right out from underneath me. And I was so upset because everything that you were saying was what I was feeling about this dude last year. And he gave you 150 innings and went 6-9, which is ugly.
Ugly, yeah.
But the team was bad.
Yeah.
If you believe that the Angels are going to be good this year, then okay, you have my attention that this guy could probably jump. I don't have him far down. I have him at 54. Okay. But like he started in the 30s, and like every dude, I'm just going, I'd rather have that guy. I'd rather have that guy. I'd rather have that guy, and just kept falling.
Yeah.
291 ERA? No. His xFIP was like 3.67. That's more realistic, right? So like all of a sudden, he's Pablo Lopez. Okay, then I'll just draft Pablo Lopez, man. Like he doesn't get the K numbers that you expect. His BABIP was really high, so like you could expect a little bit better out of like maybe the whip, but he walks dudes at an alarming rate. 3.6 walks per 9 is not good. A whip of 134, and if this team suffers injuries again, well, guess what? Now you got a guy who's going to win you 7 games.
Yeah.
There's just dudes I want more than him.
Okay.
Like my number 46.
Go ahead.
Who's in the same division, who is on a rival team.
Okay.
Who is a young pitcher, much like Pat Sandoval.
Okay.
Who put in slightly fewer numbers. I'll put 20 fewer innings, but he got more wins.
Okay.
He has he does not have a better ERA, but he has a better FIP and xFIP, a better whip, about a strikeout an inning, so probably around the same K rate as Pat Sandoval. How about George Kirby?
Oh, I knew it. I knew you were going there. All right.
How about George Kirby at 46?
I like it. I have him at 39, so we're not far off.
Yeah, man. Like he had a stupid low walk per 9 at 1.5, and still had a really bad BABIP of 331. So like the whip of 121 is going to be better.
Yeah.
The ERA might not be, right? If he's 3.5, that's fine. But like he's on a winning team, so he's the 5 starter. So give me this dude.
Yeah. I agree completely. I would love to see a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just before I can like move him any higher, but I agree with everything you said 100%.
All right. Who you got at 45, man?
I had Pablo Lopez at 45.
Okay. My number 45 led the league in wins last year.
Oh, Kyle Wright.
180 and a third, 21-5 with a 3.19. There's no chance in hell this kid's any this good.
No.
And if he is, he's going to be on somebody else's team doing it. Like, I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I don't think Braves fans buy it. I don't think anybody does. Like, and we could all be wrong. But if I'm going to be wrong, I'm going to be wrong on this kid. 45, and I really can't do much better than that.
I'm at 40. I'm So we're pretty much in the same spot here.
Mhm.
I mean, if we are talking about wins and ranking
This is the
players,
opportunity, right?
this is the
But
opportunity.
this is the moment where I start saying, okay, but because he got 21 wins last year, the law of averages states that somebody else on the Braves is going to get those wins. It could just as easily be Charlie Morton or Max Fried or Spencer Strider or
Right.
whoever the five is, right? Like
Yeah.
it could just as easily be him. I'm just going to personally be out on this kid because of his talent.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if he went 13-8, nobody would be talking about him. But because he got those 21 wins, I mean, okay, let's give him credit though. Like a 3.19 ERA, a 1.16 WHIP, like 180 innings. Like he deserves the credit for pitching well, but he was pitching on a dynamite team that just happened to get to chalk up all of those wins for him. So I don't know. I feel mediocre about him.
Yeah, I'm just sort of mad about him as well. Like nothing stands out about him. He's aggressively average. He just happened to fall into 21 wins last year. Like,
Yeah.
congratulations, kid. You did okay. Who do you
Yeah.
have at 44, man?
I've got Blake Snell.
Oh, I missed him by 2. I've got him at 42.
Hey, look at us. We're
Yeah.
not
What do
that
you
far off, Joe. I'm
No,
impressed.
no. I think we might nail one here. What do you like about Snell though?
I don't like much about Snell, but yeah, I felt wrong not having him on this list, and he is still young and he showed glimpses last year and he still has that high strikeout potential
That's the one.
on an amazing Padres team. So like all the pieces are there.
Mhm.
It's hard to ignore that and to like oust him from this list for a personal, dissatisfaction that I have or distrust that I have.
He has an absolutely disgusting swinging strike rate. It is better than it's the top 5% of baseball this past
Yeah.
season at 14.
I think we lost Joe. Joe, are you there? I don't know if we're recording still. If we are recording, love you all. Sorry for all the freezing. Figure this out before I start crying.
Is being recorded.
Hi, I'm back now.
This meeting is being recorded.
Blake Snell has a wicked swinging strike rate, man. It's top 5% in the league. He had a 14.7% swinging strike rate this past year. Granted, you're not probably ever going to see him throw 150 innings again. Like that's the fear. But
Yeah.
if he does, he's going to have 200 strikeouts and be in line for a lot of wins. So like you have to discount him a little bit. He's not the elite pitcher, but if you get him as your 3 or 4, I actually kind of really like it as a steal, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got him at 42. My 44, I'm just going to get ahead and put some respect on one of your guys here. Luis Severino
Thank you.
at 44. 237 BABIP is the only thing that frightens me. It was the lowest, and it was lowest 5% in the league, which means that the 3.18 ERA probably isn't real. Does it go all the way up to the 3.7 FIP? Maybe, but like again, in line for a lot of wins, probably not going to have an issue getting innings. He's just good. He's just good on a good team.
Yeah. I agree. I have him a little higher than you do. I have
Okay.
him at 35, but it's probably just I really like his upside. I really like
Mhm.
him pitching in New York and having a full having whatever he did last year under his belts to prepare for a real full Luis Severino season, which we haven't seen in a while. So
No. And I feel like this group of dudes, not only can they be interchangeable, but I feel like a lot of this is a lot like, how safe do I feel with these guys? Like, how
yeah,
safe do I feel for innings? How safe do I feel for ERA, strikeouts, or each individual's like specialty?
yeah.
That'll bring us to 43. This guy will be a specialty for me, but who is it for you at 43?
For me, it's the veteran Lance Lynn.
Okay.
I
I
just
have him
like
at 53. So
okay. Yeah, no, it's not that far off. He did some great things a couple years ago. Obviously he's going to be 36 years old, but that's not stopping other pitchers that are way above Lance Lynn. And he's still can strike them out with the best of them. He still can get wins in Chicago. He's not the number one. I don't know. I just like the consistency here. I like that he is always going to give you innings. And he's just a workhorse. I feel like I always kind of need that one workhorse in my staff.
no doubt. No doubt. And that's an absolute safe bet at this point.
Yeah.
I actually do have a workhorse guy as well who didn't put in workhorse load numbers as well here,
Okay.
who also pitches in Chicago. Ironically, I just went to the other side of town and took Marcus Stroman right here.
Okay.
So not the greatest first season in Chicago for him, 140 innings, a 6-7 record, but he threw to a 3.5. Like, that is perfectly fine. And the underlying numbers supported it. He's a ground ball heavy pitcher, which plays well in Wrigley Field. And if we're honest with ourselves, the dude is probably a lock for a $160 this year. And the team got better around him. They could contend for a wild card. Like, I could see him winning 12 games here.
Okay.
It's not like I'm not yay about it. I got to see it in spring, but here we are,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean it's still early. Yeah,
I
he's
assume you
still
have
that
him
ground ball
unranked
pitcher.
then?
I don't have him ranked.
Yeah.
He's on my bubble, but I don't have him ranked.
Okay.
I don't love the lack of the strikeouts there, and I think that as you tend to get older, some of that contact could turn into more hits and more runs. But
The
I mean,
defense isn't great behind him either, man. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like Hosmer helps, I guess, but like it's still who at third and Dansby at short, who's not great, and what at second.
Nico.
Yeah. So like Nico's probably okay, but like
Yeah, he's
it's
okay.
not a great fielding team. It could be a disastrous hitting team. It could go sideways. But if it's going to go well, this guy's going to be at the front of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
My 42 was Blake Snell. What do you got at 42?
My 42 is a guy that I think probably deserves to be higher, but it's another one of those guys I don't trust completely. I know Ben is high on this guy because of what he did for him last year, but Miles Michaelis.
I do have Miles Michaelis a bit higher.
Okay.
So 42 isn't disrespecting him. I have him at 32.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll get to why I like him here in a bit.
Go for
Why?
it.
What are you trepidatious about?
The strikeout rate, the some of the underlying numbers, the age. I don't know. I see him regressing a bit, I guess. I kind of see some of the other St. Louis pitchers regressing without having Yachty back there. I know that like Wilson Contreras is this new addition, but I think that it will make a difference in some of their performance levels to not have that that guy that you're just used to having back there.
I hadn't brought the Yachty factor into the equation yet until you mentioned it. And though Wilson Contreras is a very respectable replacement, it's not that guy. I guess But if it's going to affect somebody, I'm not going to believe it's going to affect like the almost 40-year-old Michaelis.
He's 34.
So
Let's not say
sure,
almost 40.
34, 35, whatever. Like it's not going to affect the veteran guy, is what
Okay.
I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
Like
no,
I
I
don't
agree.
think that's the guy that it's going to affect.
Yeah.
And I'll explain more about him in a bit.
Okay.
At 41, here's Jordan Montgomery. This is a guy that now I'm looking at going, maybe I've got him too high with this like no Yachty thing because he was really good last year for St. Louis. And that might have some effect on him.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to bump him down just off of that statement because all of the things that I do like about him still do exist there. The fact that he moves to a very good park in St. Louis, a team that is known to get the best out of their dudes, and they gave up Harrison Bader for him. Like that's a pretty important piece to them, realistically.
true.
Like they do value defensive center fielders who have speed. So like to give that up for Jordan Montgomery is important. Is a big piece.
Yeah.
He is. What did I say about him? I do. Like I said, I do love this fit. I also think that his innings are safe here. Like I think 180 innings is safe from him. He threw 178 last year.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
unless he's injured, he's going to be just fine. You can
Yeah.
count double-digit wins. You're not going to get great strikeout numbers, but fine. Like he'll be there.
I agree. I completely
All
agree.
right, that will conclude our first 9. So let's hit. Oh no, that would be 10, wouldn't it? 50 through 41.
I don't think I gave my 41 yet.
Oh, who's your 41 then?
My 41 is, I think, a guy that's underappreciated and undervalued in the fantasy world. I'm gonna go Cal Quantrill. Really like him.
I'll talk about him in a minute.
Okay, so I guess we'll get there. But
Mhm. Mhm.
okay.
What do you like
wanna
about him?
review your I like him pitching in Cleveland. I like anyone pitching in Cleveland that's like
Mhm.
a youngish pitcher coming up. And
Mhm.
I kind of like that he's like this underdog, this like undervalued. He used to be sort of like that long reliever out of the bullpen, and they worked him up and built him up, and like he was kind of lights out for part of last year. And pitching behind Bieber and McKenzie, like he doesn't have to be the guy. He's, in my opinion, a really solid number 3 on this team. And on my fantasy team, like having him as a 3 or 4 border would make me really happy.
Okay. I'll talk about him in the next 10. I'll at least
Got
say
it.
he's in my 30s.
Okay.
So yeah, let's review our first 10 here. Mike, go ahead and count down from 50 to 41 for us.
Okay. I had Lance McCullers, Dustin May, Jordan Montgomery, Joe Ryan, Pat Sandoval, Pablo Lopez, Blake Snell, Lance Lynn, Miles Michaelis, Cal Quantrill.
All right. And at 50 for me, I had Carlos Carrasco, Pablo Lopez at 49, Stripling at 48, Giolito at 47, George Kirby 46, 45 is Kyle Wright, 44, Luis Severino, 43, Marcus Stroman, 42, Blake Snell, and 41, Jordan Montgomery. That brings us to 40. Mike, what do you got at number 40 for me?
I had Kyle Wright, so we already spoke about him.
We did.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and give you a name that you actually drafted last year, or owned last year. I don't know that you drafted him, but I'm willing to believe that you owned him. I know that you owned him because you traded him last year. He had a ridiculous swing, swing, which is swings on pitches outside of the strike zone. So he's a filthy slider, filthy curveball. However, the one thing that scares me about him is he has a really high left on base rate at 82.3%. And what that just means to me is that he's really lucky. His underlying numbers did not support the 2.46 ERA that he had over 135 in the third innings for the Tampa Bay Rays. Mike Haber, my number 40 is Jeffrey Springs.
I love Jeffrey Springs. I really do. I don't have him on this list because he pitches in Tampa Bay, and you just never know. Is this guy a starting pitcher on this team?
Mm-hmm. Do you
Did
know how
he
many
prove
quality
himself?
starts he had last year? He threw 135 innings. He won 9 games. Do you know how many quality starts he had last year?
No, I don't. How many?
6.
Because he didn't get to 6 innings?
No, because he just goes 5 or 4
Yeah.
or 4 and a third. Like
Right, because they don't care about wins.
No, they care about wins in the box score. They do
Right,
not care about wins on your record.
right, right.
Yeah.
So if Springs pitches 4 good innings and then you've got 3 righties coming out to hit, like Kevin Cash has no problems taking him out.
Right. This is a very strategy move. Like you would need to draft this guy in a specific strategy that one could make the argument is a good one in the bigs, but I digress. Let's move on.
Okay.
Who do you have at 39?
39 was George Kirby. We already spoke
Okay.
of him. So
All
who's your
right.
39?
39 is also a Mike Haber favorite. He is changing teams this year.
Oh my God, we're so close on him. So close.
Right. I don't. Who are we talking about then?
Oh, maybe okay. Never mind. Keep going.
Who do you believe I'm speaking of?
I believe you're thinking of Chris Bassett.
It is Chris Bassett at 39, man.
I am at 38.
All right. So, what do you like about this move?
It's not that I necessarily like the change of team. I think it's sort of like an even move for him.
Mhm.
Pitching in the AL East is never easy, but like pitching in the NL East is not easy either. And he did it last year, and he was my rock last year. Not to get emotional on this, but he was my rock. I think he'll rack up the wins in Toronto. I think he'll keep the ERA manageable. I think he's gonna be what they wanted Jose Barrios to be.
That was the name, man. That's the name, dude. And that's the one that scares me. Because this is either going to be Kevin Gossman or this is going to be Jose Barrios. And if we're going to sit that spectrum right now, then we have to start looking at what kind of a pitcher Kevin Gossman is and where he fits on that spectrum from Jose Barrios to Kevin Gossman. This is a ground ball pitcher. That does lean more toward Gossman. However, if we look at the whip, it's not all that great. It's a 1.14. It's about the same as Merrill Kelly. It's his FIP and XFIP did not like his 3.42 ERA last year in Citi Field, which is a better pitcher's park than Rogers Center. So if we're already taking that step back and we're saying that his hard hit percentage was pretty good, all I'm saying is that he's going to, you said it, equal division, worse ballpark with a worse defense. You cannot tell me that Toronto defense is equal to Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil and Eduardo Escobar. Like maybe Matt Chapman has the edge on us there, but that's about it.
Yeah.
That defense is not as good. I don't necessarily like Bassett in this spot. As a matter of fact, like I would probably be willing to move him down along with Springs right now, but like I'm putting respect on the 181 innings. This next chunk of guys is what I'm calling like there's one dude that's the exception in this group of like this is the innings eaters this is the top of the innings eaters tier.
Okay.
So Bassett sort of starts this.
Okay.
All right.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So with that, you had who did you have at 39?
George Kirby 39, Chris Bassett 38.
Chris Bassett is 38. So my 38 is another guy. He's returning to the team for which he pitched in 2022. Martin Perez, put some respect on this season. 196 innings, a 2.89 ERA. The underlying numbers didn't back it up, but even if he falls somewhere between the 3.27 and the 3.8 that were his FIP and XFIP, you can live with that. It was not a great strikeout total, but again, this is like the best of the innings eaters guys. That if you're going to go with like, I'm going to punt pitching for the first 9 rounds, you can still get Martin Perez and not have to worry about the innings total every week.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true. He is a horse.
Right.
I'll give him that.
You throw him and Chris Bassett as your 1-2, like, okay, it's not great, but
it'll hold something together, I guess. I
suppose.
I don't have him ranked. I have him on the bubble. And it's not to disrespect him. It's just again, personal preference. I don't necessarily believe it. I think that the Texas Rangers are probably going to be better than they were last year, but something about Martin Perez, I just don't buy in, and maybe I am looking too much at the underlying numbers. I think that he has a tendency to be wild. He has a tendency to sort of lose control of some of his pitches. And I think he did have a lot of luck last year. I mean,
Yeah, 3.16 walks per 9 is not pretty.
yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that this is a great option. I'm just saying this is the best. Like, these are the best of the innings eaters guys for this particular thing. And eating innings in this era, being able to go 6 or more every time out is something to be commended.
It's valuable. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I agree.
So, all right. So who do you have at 37?
All right, a new name coming out here.
Okay.
And this is not necessarily in the workhorse category. This is a young pitcher who showed a lot last year, playing for a god awful team.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna go Hunter Green here.
Gross. Not ranked. Go.
Oh, not right.
Not ranked.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
ranked.
Wow. All right.
He's playing in the worst ballpark ever for pitchers.
He is.
And he has a home run problem.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Yeah. I really, really like his strikeout rate. And I
Yeah.
think that as a young pitcher, I think that he will figure out how to control some of those home runs. Yeah, he went 5-13 last year for an awful Reds team.
Yeah. And you think he's going to do better?
I think he's going to do better personally, like from a personal standpoint. His team won't do better. I don't think
What was his ERA last year?
4.444, something like that.
440 something. Gross.
Yeah. It wasn't very good. But
so you're gonna take the kid on the bounce back at 30.
It also started off in the 7s, and then he showed some tremendous growth in the second half, and that's sort of what I'd be banking on here. Do I want him as my number 1 or 2? No, but taking him here down in the high 30s, I feel like I'd be pretty happy with him as my number 3.
I have him around names like Eric Lauer, Frankie Montas, who had almost the same record in a few more innings and a better ERA.
Okay.
Johnny Cueto, Tyler Mahle.
Okay. Those names that I don't have anywhere.
Corey Kluber.
Okay.
Those names. That's who I got there.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay. 37 for me.
Go ahead.
Mr. Haber is yet another Mike Haber guy. This guy threw almost the amount of innings to get to a quality start in the entire 2022 season.
Okay.
You know who it is?
I don't.
You drafted him last year.
Oh, Chris Sale?
It is Chris Sale. So, what if this is the year?
Where is he ranked for you? 37?
37.
I have him at 33.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. What if this is what you wanted last year? The Red Sox are not going to be good, but if they're going to win 70 games, so maybe he can get 12 of them.
Yeah.
His innings are safe. They owe him a lot of money. Maybe he gets traded at the deadline if they're really awful. I don't know, but he's still a guy that could throw 150 innings next year, win 12 games, strike out a bunch of dudes, and be good. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about him inside the top 20.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love where he seems to be kind of falling in some of these other drafts or mock drafts or his ADP. I kind of just love where it sits because
the time to get him is right now.
Yeah.
That's the time to get him. The problem is people are going to see him in spring and he's going to climb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who's he going to climb over? Who do you have at 36?
36, I've got Jesus Luzardo.
Not ranked, but I think inside of my top 6. Yeah, he's at 56 for me. I need to see him healthy. That's all I'm asking for.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. We saw a nice chunk of what he could do if he's healthy. I like him pitching in that park. that trade I think was huge for him.
But it's for that team.
What?
It's for that team, and they still don't have anybody who plays offense.
No, do I think he's going to get 16, 17 wins? No. But again, I feel like at this number 3 spot for like, okay, this will be my SP3, right? In this area, like I'm looking for high upside strikeouts, because I can get those wins in the 1 and the 2 and maybe even the 4 or the 5. But like I'd like sort of designating one of these starters to be like, okay, this guy could just go off in the strikeouts category.
Yeah, you do like the shoot for the moon piece somewhere in the middle of your rotation, I have noticed over the years. So this does
Yes.
fit that kind of play.
Yes.
Whereas my number 36 is another just like, this dude had a really nice season. He throws a lot of innings. He's got double-digit wins, and he's going to be capable of doing so next year on an improving team. Merrill Kelly, 200 innings, 13-8, a 3.37 ERA.
Okay.
Like, we like the Diamondbacks, right?
Yeah, we do.
So this dude's taking the ball every 5th day. Why don't we like him? He had a whip of 114. He had 2 3/4 walks per 9. Struck out 177 over 200. Like, it's not a perfect strikeout rate that you'd like, but he's not going to kill you. He has more quantitative strikeouts than Chris Bassett over the season. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. It's just another one of those guys I don't necessarily trust. Like he did it well last year.
And
And then
21 was good. Like he threw like 150 innings. It wasn't a great record, but or his ERA, but like you saw it coming.
Okay.
You know, he was coming off of Tommy John, I think.
Okay.
Last year. So this is the year.
Okay.
Or last year was the year. All right. So that gets us to our top 35, Mike.
Okay.
Who you got at 35?
Severino. So we covered him.
We did cover him.
So
my 35 is the one guy out of this group that isn't like the quintessential like 180 plus inning dude with double-digit wins.
Okay.
It's Clayton Kershaw.
Wow, at 35?
At 35. Because you're not getting more than 130 innings. You're just not. And since you're not going to get that, what are you going to bank on? 10 wins? And yeah, when he pitches, he will be good. If you can promise me that he will throw 185 innings, he's a top 12 dude.
Yeah.
But you can't promise me that.
Right.
And therefore, he's going to strike out 40 to 50 fewer dudes than Merrill Kelly over a season with the same number of wins. And I get to the minimum every single week with Merrill Kelly in my lineup. Come on, man. Come on, man.
So you're telling me on draft day you're taking Merrill Kelly over Clayton? Oh no, you have
no. What I'm saying to you is I'm probably not owning Clayton Kershaw in 2023.
Okay.
That's actually what I'm saying. Like this dude will get drafted well before he gets to me, and I'm worrying about him or Merrill Kelly.
Okay.
All right.
That's fair.
So you're 34 then.
My 34 is on the same team as your 35.
Uh-huh.
And it's Tony Gonsolin.
Okay. I have him at 31.
Okay.
So like we're in the same ballpark with that guy.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's real that he's going to put up a 2.14.
No, me neither.
But if it's a 3.3, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, that's why I have him here.
Who can win baseball games.
Yes. He'll get the wins, he'll get the strikeouts, he'll do everything we need him to do at a 3 to a 3.50 ERA. And hopefully he can stay healthy and be consistent and be sort of like that number 3 that we'd all be looking for, as far as like he's not going to do anything otherworldly. He's not our ace, but he's someone that's going to provide a low ERA, potential strikeouts, and definite wins.
I just wonder whether or not he's going to be safe for 150 plus innings. Like that's the only thing I would be concerned about because it's the Dodgers. But he threw 130 last year. I don't see why he couldn't. That's why I've got him at 31.
I also don't necessarily see the hardcore pitching depth that we've seen in the past from the Dodgers.
It's in the minors right now.
Right. And
There's a
are they
lot of
ready? Are they
talent.
coming up or
Michael Grove, Ryan Pepio,
yeah.
Gavin Stone, like they're all coming, dude. It's gonna be those dudes.
Okay.
A lot. When you see Kershaw go down, one dude will come up and start for
Yeah.
like 3 weeks and then go back down, and like that's just what's gonna happen. They do it every single year. You just got to learn the new names, right? My number 34. I told you to put a pin in Cal Quantrill because here he is.
Okay.
I'm putting respect on the season of 186 and a third, 15 and 5 with a 338 and a 121 whip. I hate that number, by the way. I do
Yeah.
not like a 120 whip along with this.
I know.
His FIP and XFIP were over 4. He does not strike anybody out. 186 innings, 128 strikeouts.
Yep.
Here's what I do not understand. Why is he good?
It's the Cleveland scenario.
But how is he not just Zach Plesac from a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He could be.
I'm worried about that.
And yet you have him
And
as
yet 34, like I'm putting respect on what he did and I'm putting respect on Cleveland. I just don't know why he's this good.
Yeah. Yeah, those strikeout numbers are really concerning.
Like they're really bad. And it's not like he's a ground ball pitcher either.
I
Like
mean, but
his ground ball percentage is the same as Gonsolin.
right. If that's the case, how do you feel as a Guardian fan going into this year? You've got a lights out 1 and 2, but then what? And are you satisfied with this rotation of Quantrill, Savale, and Plesac as your 3, 4, 5?
I think what you're looking at is their minor league system as well. They've got Daniel Espino coming up, who's their top pitching prospect. I think he's going to take over one of those jobs, and then I think you have much more to talk about after that.
Okay.
That being said, what's at your double triple here? What's at 33?
33. I've got Chris Sale. Spoke about him.
Okay. I've got
So who's
Shohei
your-
Ohtani, who is another
Wow.
guy that he doesn't necessarily fit the workhorse mold here. So he does get a little bit of a knock because I don't think I can guarantee anything more than 160 innings like he threw last year. And
Okay.
if that's the case, then yeah, maybe I get the 200 strikeout upside, but I really don't think he's going to repeat this. Do you?
I don't think he's going to repeat to what he did last year. No, I've seen some people drafting him as like a top 10 starting pitcher, and I can't wrap my head around that.
Like his
I do
left
have
on
him
base
higher
rate
than
was
you,
through the
but
moon. Yeah, his left on base rate was through the moon. He could strike dudes out. Here's my other question. I have many questions. Number one, does he throw more than 160 innings again?
I mean, how
Probably not, because they're going to go 6-man. Because he's
Yeah.
only going to pitch once a week.
yeah,
So you cannot tell me he's going to throw more than 160 innings.
right.
And how many more years, if you're going to say that this is another season where he is a, call it top 25 starting pitcher and top 10 hitter, top 15 hitter in the league, how many more seasons of this can we realistically expect before one side starts to slip, and which side slips first?
His pitching side.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. That being said, if we are talking about the 2023 season,
Mhm.
I think I could see
I'm
him
putting
doing-
respect on it.
I can see him doing what he did last year for at least another couple of years. I don't think that this is like 22 was where we draw the line and then he's done. I could see him doing this again.
Yeah. Listen, I'll take him as my SP2.
Yeah.
But again, I'm gonna just like sort of transition into my 32 here real quick,
Go ahead.
which is Miles Michaelis.
Okay.
So this is the dynamic, right? So Miles Michaelis, 200 innings, 12 wins, 15 wins for Ohtani. an ERA about a run apart, but I know Michaelis is going to take the ball every single day. Every single fifth day, you will put that ball in that man's hand, and I will get closer to the minimum. And if it's a bad matchup, I don't necessarily have to start him. So his 3.29 ERA he had last year is probably lower if I own him, because I have 33 starts to choose from versus Ohtani, who's going to give me what, 20?
Yeah, and I guess the question is, what do you value more? Someone who you can pick and choose when you're going to start them, or someone who you can throw in there regardless of the matchup?
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think that Ohtani, I would start him against any lineup and feel confident that he'll go 6 innings, give up 3 runs, and strike out 7 or 8 guys. I'd feel pretty confident with that.
Against any lineup, anywhere.
Yeah.
The Yankees in the Bronx.
Yes.
Houston in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel confident with it.
Okay. See, and I just am concerned that if I'm going to take this side of Ohtani, this is the side that's going to go first, and we're going to know it. You know,
agree.
and that's what frightens me.
Okay.
All right. So at my 32 was Miles Michaelis. We talked about him. 32 for you.
32 for me is going to be another Yankee. We're going to go Nestor Cortez Jr.
Okay. I have him on the next show.
Oh, look at Cortez. All right. I like that.
So tell me what you like about Nestor Cortez.
He's a guy that, and I remember like sticking up for him last year when a lot of other people on maybe not you, but
No,
others
I did. No, I
were,
did. I talked a lot
were
of shit.
heavy doubters of Nestor Cortez, and I was like, I think he's real, guys. And then he came out and had the season he had last year, a full season, and he was dominant. And he's 28 years old, and he's not even the number 2
No,
on this team anymore.
no,
Like,
no. He's the
I kind of think
four.
the sky's the limit. Yeah.
He's the 4, and that's what I love. That's one of the many things I now all of a sudden love about the mustache ride that I will talk about
Yes.
next episode.
All right. I love that.
All right. So 32 for you was Nestor. 31 for me was Gonsolin. We talked about him. Who do you have at 31?
31 for me is Robbie Ray.
I have him 28. We're right on the money with this one. What do you like about this guy?
It's got to be the high strikeout rate. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing else to really say about him. He's gonna give up home runs. His ERA is not gonna be as high, as good or impressive as anyone in the top 20. But like, I mean, what's not to love about a guy that can potentially strike out 250 guys in a season?
Yeah. He's a better Miles Michaelis is what you're getting at. He's 190 innings with a win-loss percentage that's even, a higher ERA, but more strikeouts. He does give up the long ball a lot. He walks a lot of dudes, but not as bad as he used to. Like, really not as bad as he used to. His 119 whip is very, very palatable compared to what he used to have. Like, the dude threw to like a 1.4, 1.6 ERA in Arizona. It was disgusting. Like, this is absolutely doable. I have him at 28 because I believe he's going to be the 2 or the 3 of Seattle. He's right around a teammate. And actually, I have three dudes in this rotation within a 7-spot area right here.
I've got same thing. Within 7 picks, I have 3 of this team.
Yeah, and I assume it's the same 3, right?
Yeah.
Because we already talked about George Kirby. So
Yep.
All right. So, well, then we may as well start talking about Logan Gilbert because I have him at 30, 185 and 2/3, a 13 and 6 with a 3.2 ERA. The underlying numbers liked him. He was another one of those dudes who was really aggressively average, but this dude in particular, for whatever reason, I really liked being aggressively average.
Yeah. And I owned this guy for part of last year. He was aggressively average when he got to my team, but before he got to my team, he was great. He had a really great first half of the season. I just, before I can move him up, I want to see him sort of do this across an entire season and like not tire out and not like have all like the sails just of his boat just completely like rip off, because
Mhm.
when he did get to my team, he was clearly exhausted and overworked and
still finished with a 3.2 ERA on the season. So
exactly.
like he threw 185. He's gonna throw 180 next year, barring injury. Like this is a really safe kid to have.
Yeah, agreed.
Who's your number 30? Who cracks the 30 for you?
All right, number 30 is Christian Javier.
I will talk about him on the next show as well.
I had a feeling you would. I just want to see him as a starting pitcher for a full season. And he, sort of work his way up to being a top of the rotation workhorse type pitcher. But otherwise, everything else, the sky's the limit for this kid. I could see him being a top 20 pitcher. So
I just have one, like, two things to point out. Number one, you just said you want to see Christian Javier do it for a full season. How many innings did Christian Javier pitch in 2022?
How many did he pitch?
148 and 2/3.
Okay.
About 3.5 minutes ago, we were talking about Nestor Cortes, and you said he finally did it for a full season. How many innings did Nestor Cortes pitch in 2022?
How many?
158 innings and a third. So the difference between not a full season and a full season lies somewhere between 148 and 2/3 and 158 and a third, Mike Haber.
Here's my explanation. And it has nothing to do with 10 innings. What it does have to do with is I want to see Christian Javier as a full-time starting pitcher for a full season.
Mm-hmm.
And Nestor Cortes gave us a full season of he is a starting pitcher. Christian Javier worked out of the bullpen for a good chunk of this season before he was made his way into like the.
Do you give him absolutely no respect for pitching in, I don't know, the ALCS against the Yankees or the World Series that they won?
I give him respect for that, but there's a lot of postseason pitchers that step up in the postseason.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
All right. I will continue my Christian Javier love for next episode.
You got it.
Let's move on to number 29. Who do you have there?
Another young guy. I've got Tristan McKenzie.
We nailed one.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, I was
So
hoping
happy.
we would hit this guy.
All right. Why don't you talk about Tristan McKenzie?
296 ERA, but the FIP and XFIP aren't pretty because he had a really low BABIP and a really low WHIP because he doesn't walk anybody, which is helpful. But like he's really getting a benefit of the defense that Cleveland has put behind him. Like that is a really, really good defense, and it only got better with Josh Bell now being able to play first base. So I don't know if he's going to be able to replicate these numbers. But if you draft him as your 2 and you get him going 190 innings with a better win-loss percentage than 11-11, right? He goes 13-8, 14-9, like something to that effect, right? And his ERA isn't 296, it's like 337. With about a strikeout an inning. You're thrilled with that.
I'll take that.
Yeah, 29. Absolutely fine. Him, I understand why he's good. He strikes out the world, and he's really good. And he's got like limbs coming from everywhere, is what I was told.
He does. Yeah.
Like he's just. Yeah. All right. 28 for me was Robbie Ray. So who do you have at 28?
Mine was Logan Gilbert.
Okay, so we covered that. So 27, Mike Haber. Who do you have there?
Another Logan.
Oh.
We're gonna go Logan Webb.
Nope. We'll talk about him next episode. For me, why do you like Logan Webb?
I thought you were saying no, like you don't have him ranked.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. No, I love Logan Webb. I wanted him last year. I tried for like 6 weeks to get someone to trade him to me, and it was unsuccessful. But I don't know. I think that he is a really quality, consistent starting pitcher. I do think that the 25 that I have in the top 25 are just just have the slight edge over him for some different reason, whether it's higher strikeout rate or more potential wins. Like there's something, I don't know. That's all I got to say about him. He's very
He is
good.
the best of the aggressively average. Is that what you're telling me?
I think so.
Okay. All right. All right. So at this point, I've brought you to here, and I know that there's a name that you're expecting me to say, and I haven't said it yet. There are a couple of names that might be at this point in the numbers that you and I have not said, but that I'm in on this year. Give me Tyler Glasnow at number 27.
I'll talk about him next episode.
Yeah, Mike Haber. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yes.
Dude, that guy's making $5.5 million this year and 25 next year. They're gonna throw his arm off. I've talked about it already. Just go draft Tyler Glasnow and thank me later.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question. What round are you targeting him? Because how soon is too soon to buy in on a dude who threw 11 innings last year?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think that it's really tough. Like I would love to land this guy as my SP2.
Yes.
But realistically, is he going to fall to where I typically draft an SP2?
Right.
Probably not. So yeah, how far am I willing to reach? I don't know.
What I'm saying is that he's going to be a very volatile dude, and if you want him, I feel like he's going to go early.
I know.
Because somebody's just going to listen to all of my bullshit, or maybe I take him in the 5th like I did Verlander. Who the fuck knows?
I mean, I would not be shocked.
And listen, I did it with Verlander and it worked.
Yeah, that's true.
All right,
Glasnow is like what? 8 years
younger
than Verlander?
Yeah, younger. Coming off of Tommy John. And he threw last year. Verlander did not throw the year before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like those, what was it? You said 11 innings is what he
11
threw?
and 2/3 in the regular season, and then I think he threw one more start in the postseason for them.
And it's insane, but those like 11 and 2/3 and whatever he did in the postseason, those innings are so monumental, even though they meant nothing.
No.
And it just allows us to draft this guy with a little bit more confidence. And
yeah, because if he doesn't throw last year, then who is he? Like, who didn't throw last year that's coming off of Tommy John? Like, he's Jack Flaherty. He's
maybe not Tommy John, but like you can make the Mike Soroka argument.
There you go. That's a good name. That's a good name. All right, who do you have at 27? Second to last guy we'll talk about.
Logan Webb was my 27.
Right. So last guy we'll talk about from your list, 26.
I know you have him higher, but he's the last name I'll mention in this episode, and that's Kevin Gausman.
Ooh, I actually only have him a couple of spots higher that we'll talk about next time.
Okay.
So
we can talk about him next time, but I do like him as that ace in Toronto, consistent. He's gonna get wins. He's gonna get strikeouts. Like,
and he was hurt by the highest BABIP of any starting pitcher last year at 3.63. So his 3.35 ERA should be much lower. Yeah. I do like him a lot.
I do too. I do have one Toronto pitcher higher than him, but
I do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not Jose Barrios. So
it is not Jose Barrios. No.
All right, my number 26. I told you about this. I told you that I wanted to start and end with a bang, and Tyler Glasnow was a bit of a bang. But I think my number 26 is going to be a guy I'm really low on compared to everybody else. This guy was really good last year, and I'm not entirely sure that we're not going to sell out for a career year after he threw over 200 strikeouts and had an ERA of 2.20. He was filthy, but my concern is that he still, with a 2.20 ERA, had a 1.11 WHIP because he gave up 3.8 walks per nine. He had a really low BABIP, which helped him. but my concern remains with his inability to find the strike zone. This man got Cy Young votes last year. This is going to be my bust at this position. Dylan Cease, I am out.
Wow. Dylan Cease. Okay.
I'm out. I don't like it. I don't like the team. I think they're falling behind in that division all of a sudden. And if this is the ace that we were supposed to be drafting Lucas Giolito about here last year, no, I'm sorry. Like, this is the ultimate do it again guy. This is that ultimate do it again guy. And it's not just because I got burned with Nick Solak for him. Like, it's not
Okay.
just that.
Yeah, okay.
But like,
I'm with you. And I am happy to tell you that this was going to be the first guy I was going to talk about in the next episode. We were that close with Dylan Cease. We were that
that's
close.
awesome. That's awesome. Because I thought about putting him as the first dude next episode too, but I was like, nah, I'm just gonna close with this because now at least I have Frank from beginning to end. Because I can talk about Pablo Lopez early and Dylan Cease at the end. So
There you go.
hold on to your audience, folks. That's what I'm
Love
talking
it.
about.
Love it. All right. That'll wrap up pitchers 50 to 26. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait for our next episode. There's a lot of names we haven't heard and some names we have. So I'm really excited. I think that our like top 15 are probably going to be fairly similar. I'd like to
I doubt
hope.
it.
You
I doubt it. I
Okay.
doubt it. I really doubt that I'm going to have a lot of the same dudes you do. I know that my number one is not going to be the same as yours. In fact, I'm willing to believe that none of our top 5 are in the same spot.
Okay.
All right.
All
That's
right.
what I'm going to. I will believe that I have at least 3 guys that are not in your top 5 in my top 5. All right.
I'm trying to. Okay. All right. I'll think on that. That.
There you go. That's where we're going. Thanks, Mike. I really love this idea. And you know what? Next time we do this, we might even have Frank if he puts together his top 25 and actually has some stuff for us. So like we could do this even more. I love it, man.
Yeah. I love it too. Thanks so much for doing this with me and for placating this idea that I had about counting backwards. But I think it's been fun and I think it sort of adds to the mystery. I appreciate you taking the time and this has been awesome. I meant everything.
Let's do it again later this week, man.
Yeah, we'll do it again later this week. I meant everything I said in your birthday video. Hope you enjoyed it. And do you want to do your sign off?
No, man, this is now your show.
Okay.
Guys, until next time, it has been real. It's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We will see you next time when Mike Haber signs us off.
Deal.